Valdosta popped up on Georgia's map in the early 1860s as a whistle-stop railroad town 15 miles north of the Florida line. With the Civil War ended, Savannah and Atlanta were both in ruins, and folks searched for a new place to settle. Many chose Valdosta. Valdosta's one-horse town grew into a city, and the new residents brought with them money and plans to build big, beautiful homes like the ones they owned before Sherman and the war. Money rolled in. Commerce came. The railroad expanded. Cotton was king. Tobacco fields filled warehouses to the brim. The city was growing, alive. Old residences were a constant reminder of the city's past, while the new businesses and industries opened doors to the city's future. Many of the stately homes still remain, but not as the residences of Valdosta's elite or wealthy. They are now the offices of Valdosta's lawyers, doctors, and architects. Sitting on a block in the center of town is the requisite post-Civil War county courthouse. Circling the courthouse and surrounding city blocks are churches and the remnants of the downtown's once vibrant shopping area, now since revitalized with new chic restaurants, boutiques, and government offices. A few blocks north of the courthouse is the Crescent. This grand old home is one of Valdosta's most famous landmarks. Its name originated from its veranda, shaped like a crescent moon. The veranda contains 13 columns which symbolize the original colonies of the United States. No longer a residence, it serves as host for weddings and 50-year wedding anniversaries. North of the Crescent is Valdosta State University with its sprawling campus and Spanish architecture. Once a small women's college, it is now one of Georgia's largest universities. Century-old, moss-laden live oaks grow around the Crescent, the university, and stately homes throughout the old part of the city and along the city streets. These ancient trees provide giant, leafy canopies which keep areas of the city blanketed with constant shade, a needed shade during the hot, sweltering dog days of summer. However, oak trees and Spanish moss are not Valdosta's botanical claim to fame. It is all about azaleas. Thousands of azalea bushes throughout the city yield millions of multicolored blooms in the spring. During the middle days of March and through the end of April, the aroma of azaleas permeates the city like the perfume counters at high-end department stores. Valdosta loves its azaleas more than Pasadena loves its roses. When these flowers bloom and spread their colors and blooms throughout the city, Valdosta becomes the Azalea City. But something more important to Valdosta than azaleas, old homes, and live oaks is high school football. After the azaleas lose their bloom and the trees shed their first leaves of fall, the Azalea City changes its name once again to Wintersville. Forget the azaleas, because this is the name which makes Valdostans swell with pride. National sports writers gave the city this name because of its reputation for being a winner at the game. For years, Valdosta High School, the Valdosta Wildcats, had more national and state football titles than any other high school in the United States. The small local county high schools had their own football programs too, but none of them matched in size to Valdosta High School. Valdosta's big money, social elite made sure the city school had the best facilities and coaches. A few folks living in the county sold their homes and moved to the city just so their little Johnny could play for the nationally famous Wildcats. In 1966, everything changed. The county high schools in the small towns of Hayhira, Clyattville, and Lake Park merged and formed a single school, Lowndes High School. The county built this consolidated school on a huge tract of land near the interstate highway and constructed a new modern stadium, giving birth to a crosstown rivalry. Valdosta High's Wildcats now had local competition, the Lowndes County Vikings. The crosstown football adversaries often mocked the students of the new county high school. Every year, during football season, signs and banners appeared around town calling the county school the Plowboys instead of the Vikings. The Plowboy name attempted to slur the new high school's origins. Most of the students attending Lowndes High School were from the rural towns and farms throughout the county. At first, the Vikings accepted their ribbon from the city folks with laughter. Every year they had hay rides, and students wore straw farmers' hats and overalls on Thursday night before the big game on Friday. These overall-clad plowboys gathered and burned a stuffed Wildcat doll in a roaring bonfire. The Vikings struggled with its football program during the first 14 years, but in 1980 they won their first state championship. The county team earned their place as being a winner in the Wildcats' Winnersville. For the first time, the Vikings had become state champs. Folks in the county were like a kid getting his first bike for Christmas. The folks in the city received a lump of coal. Throughout the years, the ribbon continued, but some of the good-natured jesting turned sour. People needed more than light-hearted joking. They wanted more. To one-up the other side, football was not enough. This led to practical jokes which often escalated to fights, vandalism, and even theft. Coaches' houses rolled in toilet paper, school walls spray-painted, trophies swiped from the trophy cases of both schools, locker rooms pilfered, and football jerseys stolen. In November 1980, 1 week after the crosstown competitors squared off for their last game of the season, someone raised the stakes beyond the realm of petty vandalism and theft and committed a cruel, monstrous act. The carnival was in town with its rides, games, and sideshows, and was finishing its last night in Valdosta before returning to Florida for the winter. After the carnival closed for the night, people leaving the back gate discovered 12-year-old Allison Pritchard's bloody, lifeless body in front of the back gate's ticket booth. Her throat was cut from ear to ear. Hanging around her neck was a sign, painted in her own blood. We hate Carnies and Wildcats.